Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Oh, hey folks, dude here. Yet again, an iteration of Dude After Dark, just when I kind of, semi, hopefully, maybe barely, kind of, sort of recovered. Kind of basically had kind of a health scare. So, essentially what it was is I just need to get looked at, need to talk to the medicos and, good stuff like that there. So it is literally what it is. It's kind of like that classic, Spanish phrase, SOCKS, it is what it is. So, find ourselves here yet again, of course, for an iteration of Dude After Dark. You guys hanging out with me, good stuff like that there. Appreciate your kind attentions. I just need to get things fired up on the other side of doing things so I can actually see what my here, there's, and everywheres are, because what I usually do is I have on my Facebook page is I'll have the gathering of all the information that I then can simply verbally diarrhea upon you guys with, all the stuff that I've, gathered over the course of the week to week interchange of doing, the Dude After Dark show. So, where are we now? Currently, scrolly. First and foremost, if you don't know, in the north, well, mid-Atlantic, I don't know if we're really north. We are south of the Mason-Dixon, so technically we are south, but Maryland actually was never actually a southern state. We were occupied. So, good stuff like that there. Martinez Sasquatch, appreciate you coming in, dude. That recipe that you kicked me out the other day, yum, sounds really, really good. Anyway, so got me down to Lima Charlie, appreciate that one. Scroll. I'm now just trying to keep track of when the actual last iteration was. So I got a lot of stuff in my shack of stuff, as it were. Because, well, literally, I'm constantly doing updates. Facebook is really not so good about archiving your posts per se. So he's like, well, go check out my timeline for my newest, bestest, blah, blah, blahs. It's like, they basically try to show you, just scads of crap that you really, truly don't really need to see, except for, the absolute most frequent, or absolute most best bang for the buck, I guess, for their algorithms and what have you. I think the algorithm in Facebook right now really kind of pretty much sucks. It's not good. It really, really isn't good. Anyway, so let me go through things here. Get railed down to where I believe I was last time. And like I said, I got a stack of stuff. So scrolly. I guess that put me back into the 10th, I think was the last time that I actually did a podcast. So, yeah, that'll be 10th going to the 17th. 17th I missed. So let me get myself current on that one. And scrolly. Okay. If you guys are completely living in a cave and you don't know what's going on, obviously, Israel / the United States Air Force really, really slapped the crap out of Iran amidst the screaming Mimeites in D.C. I think Green tried to bring up impeachment proceedings, and they got 79 votes. Yeah, so those... let's see. I think Sound Guy has a new one. Sound Guy, could you fly that new one for the screaming Mimeites in Congress and Senate? Yeah, that's the dreaded B-52. B-52. Yeah, the B-52 fart. I don't know where he found that. But it literally sounds like a B-52 in flight. I don't know how it comes across on the microphone, but in person it's kind of it basically sounds like a big radial engine, plane flying by you. So anyway, that's the new one. He probably is gonna run it till we're sick of it. Okay, I think we got that part, sound guy. Thank you. Anyway, looking at my. What are you doing? Stop, 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 okay? Okay, we don't need cat voicemails. Stop. Okay, anyway, so I think sound guy's having a.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, you got a case of the Mondays on Tuesday. Anyway, so yeah, Iran's getting roughshod. I posted up a picture, and I belong to another forum board that I go to infrequently, and I posted up a picture there. But the the picture that I posted up there shows the impact areas of the air quotes bunker buster bombs, and literally every one of those impact sites looks like it's maybe like not even 20, 30 feet from the other ones. So, just give me 1 second here. If I look on that forum board, I can actually quote you the quote that I actually posted up there. So, give me 2 seconds here and I can find what I'm speaking of. So, give me one moment here, and I can figure out what I was talking about. Let's see. Scrolly. Okay, so I said on there essentially, and they said, there's obviously comments coming in afterwards, but I put in there ... and they say the U.S. Air Force cannot shoot well. Well, if you look at this picture, and I cannot do it justice, but from 7.5 miles up, they dropped the bunker busters, as you were, showing 6 holes and the imagery therein, and I did the math on it. So the thing about it is the actual targeting on the thing is bloody damn ridiculous. Okay, so in the math of things for these guys to make these hits and shoot a really small area, mind you. I mean, literally, it's like one hole, stitch on another hole, stitch on another hole, and the other one's like like a 3-round, group. So to put this in perspective, if you say you're shooting a rifle to minute of angle or MOA, it is subtending at 100 yards or 100 meters. It's subtending one MOA is under 3 inches. Okay. So it's actually probably closer to a minute of arc or whatever the minute of arc is. It's probably closer to about an inch and change. Of course, crossing over between metric and imperial, there is some crossover stuff. Anyway, going on with that one, there is, in the measurements there is 1,760 yards in each mile. So 7.5 miles times yards for miles would be 1,320 yards. Now, if you do that by meters, it's within like 100 or so. Yeah, it's pretty close. So 1 MOA at 1,320 yards is 3,841.20 inches, or 320 feet, or over 100 yards, about the size of a football field. And these guys are tacking these rounds literally on top of each other from 7.5 miles up. That is beyond amazing. Let's see. Can I even do a picture here? I might be absolutely able to cheat this one here. So let me see if I can't cheat this real fast. So I'm basically going to try to do multimedia without doing multimedia, but let's just see if I can't cheat this real fast here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some real fast multimedia type of stuff because I'm running a note phone with a stylus. I can actually go in there and I can actually do some editing on the fly, as it were. So give me 1 second here. So hang on a second, that's too fat. In other words, my pen is too fat. And that is 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, hopefully that kind of translates. So let me take the phone, convert the phone, so I now can actually flip the phone, and you guys can see this in not potato, but in actually widescreen. So let me cheat this yet again, see if this doesn't work. Reduce the brightness, because I know the cameras on these guys are really, really super sensitive. So hopefully this is kind of working. So on the top, that is 3 rounds right there, and on the bottom there is 3 rounds right there. Hopefully that's working for you guys. So they literally stitched 3 rounds vertically, and then they stitched 3 rounds in this tight little pattern. So hopefully you guys saw what I was talking about here. And oh my stars and garters, they did it from 7.5 miles up with a B-2 bomber. Yeah, let's just say it's not a really good day to be, an Iranian talking smack to Israelis. I would definitely say these guys in the Air Force definitely did the job. Now, here's the other bragging rights they were talking about on one of the other talking head shows that I tend to, actually listen to and podcast later on. So what they said essentially was these guys took off, and I believe the base is in Midwest somewhere, like Idaho or Indiana or something like it wasn't the I states. I don't think it was Iowa. But anyway, so these guys took off, flew with multiple refuelings, because a B-2 bomber is not fast. Literally, commercial aircraft, read like passenger jets, some of them are actually faster than a B-2 bomber. A B-2 bomber is stealthy as all get out and really strange looking, but it's really, really hard to source, with radar or tracking. It's a really, really stealthy aircraft, literally. So they flew that thing in there, and it is not fast. I think it tacks out screaming tacks out 580. Well, to put it in perspective, a 737 tacks out about 580, okay? That's normally what you're flying because they're trying to save fuel. They don't fly as fast as the plane can actually fly. Just give me 1 second here. Normally they fly slower to save fuel and, not beat the plane up. I think normal cruise is 530. So if you think about the sheer amount of flight time that these guys had, first and foremost, it's taking a really long time to fly there. Obviously, they're going to fly. The tanks are going to get dry. They're going to get refueling with, in-flight refueling type of apparatus. There's only 2 people on a B-2. There's the pilot, and there's the co-pilot, who's also the bomb guy in communications. And, obviously they cross over. But they're both pilots. It's just, what's the left seat doing? What's the right seat doing? One's a mission specialist. The other one's the plane flyer, the pilot, as it were. So they obviously flew there, did the mission, and flew back to the United States. Complete total mission time was in excess of 31 hours. Now, I can tell you for a fact, being stuck in not the biggest of surroundings for 31 hours with somebody else, just waiting around until you actually get there. Then there's the 5 minutes of excitement where you actually get to do the gig. Then you get to turn around and, obviously you've dropped the sound guy. They didn't drop the meow, all right? Stop. No, it was bigger than that. No, I think it was bigger than that.
This is my boomstick!
Okay, I think that they really brought the hurt down upon those guys. Now, specifically, the mission statement that they said was, obviously, there's the B-2 bombers, of which I believe there were 7 B-2 bombers, so each dropping 2 of these bunker buster munitions. So 14 of these things going in on target, and there was some F-22 doing security and obviously, interaction or, taking down any potential threats type of stuff. So there was those guys too. I think I would have wanted to be in the B-2 versus flying in the F-22. The F-22, yeah, it's a little tight. I mean, that's definitely something that you don't want to be in for too terrible long. Yes, it can do in-flight refueling, but man, there's limitations with how long you want to sit in a box and not move around a whole hell of a lot. B2, you can actually get up and move around. Obviously, there's also probably food sources in there. Obviously, there's also probably relief methods in there. When you're flying a fighter jet, you basically got the gel pack that you, eliminate your bladder into, and then it kind of turns into goop and doesn't leak everywhere if you go into a combat mission. That's usually what those guys are stuck with. They got the bag of goop. So anyway, yeah, Martinez Sasquatch. Diapers can only hold but so much. Yeah. Anyway, T-Mankin, I appreciate you coming on by, dude. Well, see, the thing is, T-Mankin is also the chat room. I'm looking at multiple sources here. Obviously, I have my smartphone here, which is the actual provider of the uplink. I have a laptop over to my right here that is my actual multimedia source / ability to look at the chat room on YouTube. Yes, there is also a chat room on the phone, but it's bitty, okay? It's like, you got some text in the bottom, and it's kind of more of a distraction to simply just look over the camera, off camera, and look over here and go, oh, okay, that's what you said. Anyway, good stuff like that there. So these guys doing their mission thing, they basically get turned around and doing it. But the thing about it is there was a decoy flight. So obviously, I'm sure the Iranians have some guys here who are really deep cover. Translation, they're charitable, and they go, okay, Americans are flying planes. They're flying planes that way, not that way. So obviously flying that way is the decoy flight. Flying that way is the mission flight. Or they're taking off from multiple bases, and they're not saying what they're doing. They're going to say, it's a training mission. But a B-2 flying is kind of a unique bird. For some serious aspect therein, the biggest thing, of course, is the stealth coating on them is really one of those things they try to preserve. So literally, they don't park them outside. They are always parked inside because they don't want the stealth coating to have weathering taking place, which then removes the ability for them to have the stealth ability. Now, the thing about it is also the actual stealth on a B-2, it's like a bird. Now, granted, birds aren't flying along at 500 some odd miles an hour, but it looks like an aberration, and the radar is just going, there's a bird moving at 500 miles an hour. And most texts are going to go, is something on the actual dish. There's an aberration in the scan. The computer's misreading something. It's seen as possibly a tolerable error. It's not like, okay, here's a flotilla of jets coming at us, and we know that it's probably the Americans. The other thing, too, is also just proved out that the Russian, the Chinese, and most especially the Iranian air defense and detection methods suck. And I do mean absolutely suck. So as much as these guys have done, intellectual property theft and, all their clandestine spying and whatnot to try to get a hold of our technology, they really didn't know what was coming. And the other big bragging rights on this thing, too, is these guys flew from home base, performed the mission, returned to home base. So they left, did the mission, and went back to the United States. They didn't land somewhere else. They said, here's our capabilities, guys. Don't do it. Because if you FO, you might FA, you might FO. So don't FO, FA. And that's the other thing, too, is also in the sheer bragging rights of it. If you can do something, it's not bragging if you can do it. So, excuse me 1 second here. Patriot Fever, do you think the pilots made a delivery in the bombs before delivering it? Well, technically, the way that most bombers are set up, the actual passenger area compared to the payload area, unless you really truly have a situation, you don't interact. It's literally one unit that's accessible to the other unit, but most of the time the payload is the ground crew. And those are the guys that write the cute things on the bombs before the bombs go into the plane. Now, the complement of that stuff that went into the plane. The B-2, I think, was rated for like 40,000. Well, each of these bombs was, or 25,000 or whatever it was. So they basically have, a lot of payload on board, but the plane is rated for it. I think they actually underrated the stats on it to say, well, it doesn't really carry all that much. Well, it carried two of those things, and they are hella heavy, to use the California phrase. They are 20,000 pounds each. So they had 40,000 pounds of stuff on board, and that was a really long-ass flight, and they really dropped them on doing the mission correctly. So the B-2 itself is a proven device now, not cheap. Now, if you were looking for something fast, and I actually was doing some research on this the other day because I was intrigued, comparing the B-1 versus the B-2. The B-1 is fast. That's a 1,200 mile an hour bomber that can carry 75,000 pounds of bombs. That is sick. I mean, that's literally like encroaching on like B-52 type territory. I mean, when you come right down to it, okay, let's just find out real sick and stupid here. Make things easy. I'll simply just search Google real fast. Maximum payload B-52. B-52 can carry 70,000 pounds. So it literally carries slightly less than the B-1. It's slower than the B-1. The biggest difference, though, is that I think the distance involved is I think the B-52 can fly so much farther. Yeah, exactly, Martina Sasquatch. Exactly. Yeah, the Freedom Boner. Yeah, the B-1 bomber, or the Bone, because you're saying B-O-N-E, Bone. So that was literally the nickname for the plane. They called it the Bone, B-1. And it actually carries more. It's faster. I don't think it has the range, though, Martina Sasquatch. I think that's the major difference, is the B-52 has so much longer range. It's not faster by any stretch. I think it's actually kind of slow, but it has the range. But then again, the B-52 has literally been flying since its date of origination, or 1952. Yeah, it's a 70-year-old plane that they think by the time they're ready to retire it, it's going to be about a 90-year-old plane. Now, obviously, as the thing has aged, avionics have improved, technology has improved, so they go, okay, well, this thing doesn't work anymore. Unbolt that, pitch it, bolt the new one in. This section of airframe is getting a little tired. We'll change that out. We'll reinforce this, change this piece out. Anytime that you need to do something structural, it's usually ability to remove such and replace such that keeps the thing going. Is the stress areas, and those are the parts you replace. Excuse me 1 second here. So I remember seeing this one graphic where they're like, okay, we're thinking of armoring the hell out of World War II planes. Because all these planes are getting shot down. We need to armor them up. And somebody was like, you know what? Why don't we find a graphic or make a graphic that shows all the areas critical to where the planes went down versus the areas that were not critical where the plane didn't go down? So basically what they said was like all the areas that were, bullet strikes that took the plane down, those are the places we're going to armor. All these other areas, not mission critical. Don't put armor there because you're just wearing the plane out. You're weighing the plane down. You're making it work way much harder than it needs to work because you're carrying a bunch of metal that obviously is not mission critical if it gets hit. So that's kind of the way they designed on that one. It's kind of a cool graphic. You can look it up. But I thought it was kind of interesting to see it for what it was worth. Sound guy, what? No, the planes don't fly and fall like that. No, you can't get technical with sound guy, okay? You can't. I'm trying to go back to the comments here. Ifo Alimbo, appreciate you coming by. How am I doing? Can I ask you a question? Yes. Ifo, it was way earlier in the comments. I didn't see her come in, but Ifa Ayimbo, appreciate you coming in. So yeah, what is your question? So we learned about survivor bias. Well, that's the other thing too. Martina Sasquatch in the room said that it doesn't have the range. The Russians scream so loud about the bone because it lost its nuclear strike capabilities. Sort of. It still has. All you do is change out that rotating bomb assembly. You change that one out. You take out cruise missile technology, Tomahawk, whatever, and you put in the nuclear missile. It's not that big a change, dude. It was really kind of more like, oh, okay, Russians, we won't have nukes on board the B-1 bomber. No, it's really not that big a change, okay? Essentially, it would be roughly about the same thing as changing the interior in your car. I mean, it's work, but it can be done. It's not like you completely changed the whole vehicle. You just simply dressed it up differently on the inside of the bomb bay area. Thought they had to cut out a computer bank. Well, if you think about it, dude, the computer bank back then probably was some blocky monstrosity that took up way too much room, and you probably could replace it with something, bitty. Not a deal breaker. But the other thing, too, is also, do we really face off against the Russians going, oh, we need to set up all our, high-speed, long-distance bomber aircraft with nuclear missiles? No, it's kind of rendered moot when you have a nuke sub parked offshore, okay? It's really rendered moot. Because as much as these guys go on about, oh, our missile defenses or this, that, and the other thing, I'm sorry, you have a bunch of, attack subs off the shore with 24 missile tubes apiece and a whole bunch of MIRVs. No. You basically can shoot down as many planes as you want to. You're not going to shoot the sub out of the water if it decides to, hide itself. I know they have infrared detection now and they can source, where the subs are, but there's also that little holdback where they go, yeah, well, there's like a couple subs parked offshore and they can tag us within about 15 minutes. So even if we did tag, DC with our hypersonics, these guys would get the radio message and we'd get slaughtered within about 5 minutes after they got slaughtered. So not worth it. So that's the other thing too, is, when you start talking about, faster missiles, they're still missiles. And they're coming in, they're coming in from somewhere. Obviously you see the window of opportunity where these things launch. And yeah, that's the other thing too. It's also like, the Iranians playing fast and cute with their missile launches. And the Israelis are like, dude, we saw where you launched from, okay? I'm more than a little pissed at both parties right now because the Iranians and the Israelis are still playing pissy mode. And Trump pretty much told them in no uncertain terms, knock it off. Oh, jeez. Patriot fever. Yeah, I'm sure they were probably wondering what was going on, too. It's like, they were expected to basically just be munching on, standard desert stuff, but yeah. Scrolly. Let me get back into what I got here, but let's just say that, what they have going on overseas, it's just a stupid pissing match at this point. So much so that even Trump was like really frustrated going, they need to, knock it the F off. I forget what the exact quote was, but he actually openly cursed and said the F-bomb. Excuse me 1 second here. Yeah, I think he's pretty much just into not feeling it. Okay, I don't know why you keep doing that one, sound guy, but sure. Let's see. Scrolly. Obviously, the Iranians are now looking at some new holes, some new flaming things, and the Israelis are like, we're being told to stop, but we don't have to stop. Neither side eats pork. Why should I care? Oh, God. Yeah, more pork for us. More pork for us. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but supposedly another anti-ICE Antifa activist really, I got this one, sound guy. He really just got... Yeah, anti-ICE activist, testicles shattered by rubber bullet, fired by police in L.A. An activist opposing immigration and customs enforcement says that one of his doodads were shattered and the other one bruised when he was shot by police with a rubber bullet during a riot in L.A. The man who was out protesting against ICE raids in downtown LA this week spoke with KTLA after the officer's close-up shot to his groin with a rubber bullet severely bruised one of his doodads and quote-unquote shattered the other. Quote, "It sucks to sit down," the 33-year-old demonstrator Martin Santoyo said at the start of the interview. Dude, if they tell you to leave, you leave. If you don't leave, well, you kind of get more than a little bit of a... Yeah, I got to come up with a sound effect for somebody getting zapped in the dads. That would be...
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Yeah, I got to come up with a sound effect for somebody getting shot in the dads. Anyway, so he's now home from the hospital, still in recovery, and can't walk. It says the incident happened on Monday in the area of Temple Street just after he got off his bicycle with a crowd of protesters and law enforcement. He noted that before this happened, he did not hear any officers declaring an unlawful gathering. Dude, if you see a bunch of cops there and they're saying leave, you leave, or you get... Yeah, you get that, okay? You get that. Anyway, so he's not happy. Obviously, body parts aren't happy. And, well, I guess he's half again as, manly as he could have been. Scrolly. This one I think completely, absolutely hilarious. The left keeps going on about, Donald Trump will not be a king. There's no kings in this country. CNN posted up something a while ago. Read June 8, 2012, where they took it down very quickly. But remember what I've always said about the internet. Never ever put anything up on the internet because somebody's going to grab a screen grab and there is no delete button on the internet. So what did CNN post up on their Twitter? Or on their website? Actually, I don't know where it actually was posted up. Maybe it actually been on their website, but it was, quote, "Liberals want Obama to be a king, not a president." Posted up June 8, 2012. Wow. So I don't know who this guy is, but Dean Obadiah says some liberals want a ruler who would be unrestrained by Congress and the Constitution. That sounds like a monarchy to me. So they wanted Obama to be king. The Obama who would be king. It sounds kind of contrary and hypocritical, hypocritical to what you guys espouse to Republicans. Why is he moaning? Either way, the government paid for half of his... Oh, God. Bottom assignment surgery. Sound guy should sneak into Michael's bedroom with a taser and get zapped. Not recording. And that's entirely possible, dude. Anything's possible. So, you could slip on in there and you never know what might have happened because, well...
Come on, squeal.
But I pooped from there.
It's spicy.
Okay. I have no idea where he's going with that one, okay? None at all. He's just... Oh, come on. You don't get a ding for that, okay? No.
Dickhead.
No, you don't get a ding for that. I don't care what you say. No. Stop. Jeez. He's at it again. Yeah. To you too. Pedro, you missed your sound guy. Oh, great. Now you're going to just encourage him.
To death.
Death bite. Yeah, whatever. Thanks.
Dickhead.
Stop it. Jeez.
You snooze.
You're in the jailhouse now.
You're in the jailhouse now. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, oh no. Oh, Martinez Sasquatch. The middle picture on that one. Woof. Oh, brutal. Youch. Youch. Scrolly. I'm not gonna really give you the visual in this one, but this person, shall we say, Hunger Games Billy Porter, America's Nazi Germany right now, and the Jews are black people. Speaking as a tribesman, okay? You don't speak for me, and you have no idea what it's like to be Jewish right now. In fact, the Jews have it worse than you guys had it back in your bad times because, oh yeah, we're not even really allowed to go to school in some campuses. Wow. This one, of course, me being a smartass, I thought this was actually kind of funny. But you remember the movie Fifth Element. So when you hear the news stories talking about Representative Anna Paulina Luna, do you get this mind warped and you start thinking about the blue opera chick in the Fifth Element called Plavlaguna? Plavlaguna? Yeah, Diva Plavlaguna, as opposed to Paulina Luna? I don't know. For some reason, I always kind of warp those two together. But I know she's not blue. Scrolly. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one or not, but supposedly the former YouTube CEO, Susan Wojcicki, or Wojcicki, whatever her name is, has finally succumbed to cancer at the age of 56. Well, unfortunately, her demise, truly, it saddens me, but I never like to hear somebody suffering through that kind of malady, but you killed YouTube. Ugh. Truly, I even talked to, other bigger channels, like Jeff from, Colonel Jeff from Cutlery Lover. And he said it's absolutely been completely demonstrative, how much his channel's gotten knocked down because of, her. So basically, what she did was she changed the algorithm to really screw things around. But, it's kind of really disgusting how they've made YouTube, posit these really just completely just lame videos that are just, yeah, definitely dickhead. Thank you. I mean, all kinds of just, yeah, okay, thanks, Sound Guy. All kinds of douchebags making stuff that is just not worthy of normal consumption. And, some of the algorithms just really steer you to just stuff that you would never even watch. Case in point, this one video popped up, and I'm watching it. I'd never seen this guy's channel before, and it was the most overproduced pap. I mean, that's about the only way to describe it. Dude was talking about installing an engine into a car that never really should receive said engine, and the background music was this kind of thumping bad dance music. It's why did you feel the need to, I guess you really want to make it, so it doesn't seem like it's just boring, you talking about, well, I took this and I bolted this onto this, but then that didn't fit, so I had to, change this around to that, and blah, 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 and this had to be this, that, and the other thing, because, it was just not going to work, because, it's just, but then you have the background music, and it's it's oh, stop, come on, it's just, yeah, it was just not good, okay? It's just not good. But these guys overproduce these things, and it's the scene cuts and just the music in the background. It was dude, this is unwatchable. I would rather just have a video where dude is talking about stuff, and there is not overstimulation, and not okay, we can't have any pauses. It has to be just constant action, constant stimulation, constant music, flashing lights, and all the. It's way too much. It's overproduced stuff, and it just truly does not make it worthy. So when they do stuff like that, I pretty much just I tune out because it's just not worth my time. Thanks, Sound Guy. So anyway, watching that stuff. Thanks, Sound Guy. Thanks. Watching that is kind of a mind screw. Thanks. He gets in a groove, folks, and that's just where we are. Okay, the B-52 fart did not need to be done. Stop that. Stop that. He gets a new sound effect, and it's like the best thing ever. Stop, sound guy. Oh, jeez. Okay, I blame you, Patriot Fever. You got him going. I blame you. Let's see. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not. This is possibly one of the most racially obtuse and sensitive things ever. Ever. Excuse me. I cannot do this one justice. And I got this one, sound guy. Hang on. Let me find the appropriate sound effect here, okay? No, it's not that one. Stop. Stop. It's not that one either. Stop. Stop. I got it, okay? I got it. Okay, the NAACP was quoted as saying, "Those racist-ass mother cluckers." Okay, the premise being, Kroger is now under fire, and I cannot do this one justice, folks. The picture alone is just absolute hilarity. This is racially obtuse, just completely blithingly ignorant idiocy. But for Juneteenth, they released watermelon cakes. They released watermelon cakes. Oh, man. You want to talk about obtuse. Oh, yeah. I don't know who the guy was that said, "Hey, here's a great idea. It's not racially insensitive. Let's talk about watermelons on Juneteenth." Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know what was next. Like, malt liquor and fried chicken. I mean, and the cakes literally look like you took a watermelon and just kind of cut it in half, and it's like all the seeds around it. I mean, it's actually not a bad looking representation, but, oh, my stars and garters, holy crap. That is just beyond the pale of insensitivity. Oh, wow. I cannot do it justice, folks. Man. Let's see. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not, but this chick really, truly needs to be booted from office. So, Libs of TikTok, which I absolutely, I just adore that website. She is amazing in this regard of finding just little bits of right in, just perfect stuff. Anyway, Libs of TikTok is making the a-holes look like the a-holes they always were, as she's offering a fake-ass apology when caught with her pants down. She needs to be slapped down hard. North Carolina representative exposed after sharing a photo calling for the beheading of Donald Trump. So Julie Von Hyphen, so Haefen, a Democrat state representative for North Carolina, in a recent social media post, Julie showed a picture from a No Kings protest, which appeared to call for the beheading of Donald Trump. So the story went viral. Julie X's account was deleted in her original post on Facebook, which led her to replace the graphic picture with a new one, but the backlash continues. Remember that part I said earlier about there is no delete button on the internet? Yeah. So she's got this picture. She's holding up this sign at the protest, and on either side of her are these two doll heads, mannequin heads, whatever, with like blonde hair, intimating this is Trump. Yeah. So anyway, she then tried to fix it by doing the apology. Yeah. Yesterday I posted a video on social media containing COVID photos from a No Kings protest in Raleigh. One of the images was of a protester holding a sign hoop is inappropriate, and I later edited the video to remove the photo. That was you. You did this, okay? You did this. Catch you later, Squatch. Thank you for hanging out, dude. Appreciate it. See you later. There's no place for that kind of extremism in a democracy, no matter the target, no matter the party. You did it. I love this unapology crap where they're like, sorry if you were offended by my words. No, you did it, okay? Own up to it. You did it. You're a piece of dirt. I hope she gets booted, recalled, call it what you will. And she's even got the appropriate Karen-looking haircut. That is the absolute creme de la creme, cherry on top. Is she has the Karen haircut. Need I say she is a little bit fair, more than a little bit fair, like probably more than a little fair, and has the appropriate Karen look. Wow. Just wow. But lives on TikTok, creme de la creme. Absolutely amazing. This one, I cannot do this do it justice. I cannot do it justice. Oh, my stars and garters. Wow. From Breitbart.com, Michelle Obama tells why she's glad she did not have a boy. Well, the mere fact that you might not be a girl might define why you don't have a boy. Just give me 1 second here. I cannot do this justice. Male pattern baldness, I don't know. So coming on Breitbart, former First Lady Michelle Obama is getting attention for odd comments she made regarding her husband, former President Barack Obama, during a recent podcast episode. Who listens or watches this podcast? I've heard it made mention many times where people are just like, she's got a podcast, but it sucks. I don't watch it. It's lame. It's really, really underwatched. And that's being polite. That's the nicest way I could say it, is it's underwatched. And that's being very polite. Yeah, it's very, very, very. I'm waiting for him to stop doing a meow. All right, I got it, sound guy. It's very. Stop! So, First Lady's podcast called IMO Wednesday, guest and Hot 97 radio personality Angie Martinez told Obama she should have had a son. Quote, you should have threw a boy in the mix, Martinez told Obama, who responded, I'm so glad I didn't have a boy because he would have been a Barack Obama. Yeah, that was appropriate. That was really appropriate for the meow on that one. Wow. Just wow. Wow.
Fact check.
No, sincerely fact check. I think, yeah. What was that for? I didn't curse. Anyway, wow. He could have been a Barack Obama. Total. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oof. This one is kind of absolutely, positively disgusting. But this is kind of one of those things that they do, and man, when they do it, they are absolutely disgusting when they do it. Coming in yet again from Breitbart.com, there is a news story of a child therapist. There's really no nice way to say this. So, child therapist admits to sharing infant rape. So basically, doing acts upon a child porno. Yipes. Like, really, really bad, serious stuff, nasty stuff here. So, Long Island child therapist admitted to sharing horrifying videos and photos depicting infants being raped. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Eastern District of New York said, so Renee Rena Hoberman, a licensed social worker from Plainview, New York, pleaded guilty in federal court on Wednesday to distributing child porn on social media app Kik, K-I-K, according to a report by the New York Post. The 36-year-old reportedly told investigators she got off on the content which she disseminated on the internet over the course of several months last year while working as a therapist based in Melville, New York, where she served children 17 years of age and under. She admitted federal agents that she has a preference for children from infancy to age 3, and she prefers violent depictions of children in child porn, according to the complaint obtained by the Post. So, she's one sick-ass biatch, and she basically gets her rocks off on this stuff. I'm thinking that she really truly needs to be stuck in a jail somewhere where she can't do these things. And the other side of that one, too, is I thought along the lines of, well, you know what? Potentially these people should have a tattoo on their forehead with UV ink so they can't escape the wrath of others knowing their past and knowing that they are like this. What a nasty person to share that kind of stuff. Wow. Wow. I cannot begin to tell you how much this one cracks me up, but supposedly there is the picture alone, I cannot do this justice, but there is a guy by the name of Samuel Tate Berry, a 2020 trans Antifa rioter who faced no consequences back before, during Biden's administration, was now charged with assaulting a federal officer and failing to comply with official signs and direction, and he identifies as a female. But I got to tell you what, it is the most, bad, I'm not a girl anymore type of translation you could ever think of. If nothing else, dude has a deeper 5 o'clock shadow than I got. The worst application of, wrong color lipstick ever, owl-style glasses, and hair that kind of looks like, like a punk rocker, kind of got caught in a wind tunnel. Wow, I cannot do this justice, but this guy is one of, those guys. I cannot begin to tell you just how much it's not like a girl. Wow. Just really, wow. This one kind of really cracks me up. I mean, if you look at, the performer Jack Black, what has he really done? He's done a couple movies. He's basically been trundled along and plugged in all the places he possibly can be. Obviously the guy can do some music. He obviously can sing. Obviously can do stuff. Is he really a huge raging talent? Yeah, not really. No, not really that impressive an individual, but, he's out there. So, he's now grown this kind of communist, later beard thing going on. I think he's channeling his Karl Marx look. So anyway, he's valiantly defending the communist ideals and what have you, but it has not worked out for him because now he's done a concert run and he's suffered $1 million loss in concert tours after embracing ragingly, publicly, absolutely unabashed woke tendencies and ideologies. Woof. Dude, sometimes people just don't like that stuff, and they reject you. Just give me a second. It's really hot, humid, a lot of pollen and stuff, so we're feeling it in the mid-Atlantic. Scrolly. This one, I cannot do this justice. This is kind of one of those, I just see this stuff, and I just start laughing just spontaneously. So there's a link to a Business Insider story, and I cannot begin to tell you how much this cracks me up. So from the Business Insider, it's literally just a meme, and you can just read the meme and you get the whole thing. Business Insider, my wife and I have an open marriage, but one of her partners has just moved into our house without my permission. How do I tell her this is not okay? So me being the smartass that I am, I basically posted it as this. I said, you know what? Deny her sex. That'll teach her. Wow. Let's see. Scrolly. Of course, there's all that, Iran, Iraq bomb stuff, and it's way, way, way oversaturated right now. I really, truly don't need to get into that because it's like every 5 minutes, like, wow, Iran really got bombed. Israelis are really, really mad. Iranians are really, really this, that, and the other thing. Trump's really pissed off at both of them. It's enough. It's saturation point. Even I'm just like, okay, like, unfortunately, like the major news channel that you can pick up pretty much anywhere in my area is being Bloomberg. Every 5 minutes, like, wow, the Israelis and the Iranians, this, that, and the other thing, Trump, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, enough. I don't need to get every 6 minutes on the 6 minutes you talking about the same three things. Done. Just give me 1 second. I just have burnout. And when I have burnout, it's sincere burnout. And I get sincere burnout. So anyway, let's see. Scrolly.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the...
Oh, okay. I think Sound Guy's trying to say he's got burnout too. Okay, thanks, Sound Guy. Okay, I think the cat got it too. Scrolly. I am absolutely finding it hilarious, the lengths, depths, and widths that some of these Democrat representatives are going to put it out there how pissy they are that Trump went out and defended everybody. And there's not even like, a slight intimation on, well, I'm just defending Israel. It's like, no, dude, I want this crap to stop. Anytime you heard like Trump talking about, the Russia-Ukraine thing, he's like, I don't care that you guys are fighting. I want you guys to stop fighting because I want the people to stop dying. I want you guys to stop fighting. That's literally the way he stated it on more than a few occasions. It's like, I don't care who's fighting who for what reason. I just want it to stop. So, case in point, that's where he's coming from. But, like I said, length, depth, breadth, and width, AOC is now going to try to get in their articles of impeachment. Well, Representative Green, also known as the guy who literally got booted out because he couldn't stop being the snarky, pejorative guy that he is, waving his cane, doing his best grandpa piss off on the porch. That didn't work. He only got 79 votes, and they pretty much told him to go stuff it. So AOC is now going to try to draft articles of impeachment. She said that Trump will have to answer to her. I really, really want to curse right here, but you know what, Miss? You're not gonna get what you think you're going to get, okay? You're just not. It's just not gonna happen, okay? Please try. But I got to tell you, man, it's being very illustrative now, where you can see her demeanor, literally her demeanor's changing. I don't know if it's one of those things where it kind of ages you poorly to be in public office, but dude, she's looking rough. She's looking really rough, and I don't care if they pancake the makeup on her. She's not looking nearly as cute as she used to, and it's starting to show that all that bubbling tide of it's starting to act up and maybe show itself publicly. So all that thanks, Sound Guy. All that where she's being, I think it's starting to show. Okay, I think we got it, Sound Guy. We got it. Okay, got it. Bubbling tide, whatever. But it's starting to show in her face, like Rosie O'Donnell, man. She looks rough now, man. She looks really rough. Holy crap. Was it 12 or was it 14? I thought it was 14. I thought it was 14 of the bunker busters, or the GBU 57 massive ordnance penetrators, or the MOPS. Let me jump on that for 1 second here. People tend to not understand the technology on that thing, but I remember reading articles years ago where they were talking about designing these things. And literally what they did was they were taking old sections of like cannon barrel, like the big honking cannons that were on like the Iowa class destroyers and whatnot, or other cannon barrels, and they're not exactly weak stuff. I mean, you're talking like the cannon barrel on like an Iowa, it weighs about as much as a tractor trailer. And you're basically taking a section of this, you're putting a penetrator nose on it, then you're putting these unbelievably good reactive fins to steer the thing by the ground and steer it by GPS to say, I want you to land here. And it usually hits within a very small distance of here to say, I'm on target. Never mind the fact the thing's carrying like 2,400 pounds, I think it is, of high explosive on board. Well, to give you some idea of the penetrating capability of that thing, they said it'll penetrate 200 feet. 200 feet of ground. It'll penetrate 60 feet of concrete. Now, even without the explosive going off, that's ridiculous, man. That's like basically you just took an arrow and shot it through like a block of gelatin. It is unbelievably nasty stuff. Like years ago, like I said, I was reading an article, and they were designing these penetrators, and they were like, okay, well, we're going to drop them in, we're going to see what they do, and we'll recover them and see what the after effects are. Problem is, they dropped them in, and they're like, okay, we think it's only going to go in, but so far. Well, they said so far. It stopped like down here, and they're like, okay, we can only really dig down to about here. We're going to have to say it's probably effective, and we'll have to move on our studies from here because we've already have theory proven. Yipes. That is not the thing you want to be jacking around with because it's really going to kind of hit you where you live. Scrolly. Oh, well, this one's kind of a neat one. So Honda, read like, the namesake of, all my vehicles that I currently own are Hondas, but Honda Motors has successfully launched and landed a reusable rocket. So essentially, I think what they did was they looked at Elon Musk's stuff and they were like, he's doing some cool stuff. We probably need to make one of those ourselves. And Honda does some really groundbreaking things. I mean, they were like one of the first guys out there to come up with a car that was clean enough to run without a catalytic converter back in the day. I mean, it was really kind of cool technology. Obviously, they had to go later, and, they did put catalytic converters on their cars, but for a long time, their cars did not require catalytic converters because they would just burn that clean. Now, I know that there is like some regulations where some cars are clean enough and other cars aren't clean enough. A lot of the Hondas are actually clean enough that they actually are 50-state cars, and they work just fine in, of all places, California. Let's see. Scroll. Where's Glaze? What's up, man? Grab camera for Lamar Jackson edit. Okay, I don't know who that is, but sure. Appreciate you hanging out, man. So let's see. Scroll. Yeah, Patriot Fever. I don't think they ever will learn to stop messing with Secret Service. It's just one of those things they do. Let's see. Scrolly. Going over here where I was. Oh, yeah, I guess I got to make mention of this one. So anyway, on Monday, right like yesterday, Mrs. Dude and I are celebrating our 16th wedding anniversary. It's not our true anniversary. We've been together a lot longer than that. But it was our 16th wedding anniversary. We were married in Disney World. So if you guys saw the picture on Facebook and you thanked, or you said something, appreciate it. Good stuff like that. One, just have to cover the screen with my hand over. Oh, no pictures. Okay, I got you there, Warrior. Appreciate it. That's funny. So let's see. Scrolly. Yeah, Representative Al Green. That's the guy who tried to bring in the impeachment. It was like 344 to 79 for the votes. Al, I don't think you're going to get it, dude. I really don't think that's going to happen. So keep trying. Yeah. This one I think is very, very illustrative on what exactly has happened in the last 2 weeks or so in Iran with their nuclear program. Now, there's a guy I follow on Facebook, and his name is Hello Fold. Hello Fold, and I believe he's former IDF, but he's very notable as being a just notable poster. I mean, the guy actually has the check mark beside his name and whatnot, which I'm not crazy about. But this guy's pretty square. Really, really good information sourcing and whatnot. Knows a lot of people in the high echelons of the Israeli politics and notables and good stuff like that there. So anyway, what he actually said was going into what actually has happened. So, he says this. You don't have to be a nuclear scientist to realize the rumors of Israel and U.S. only setting the Iranian nuclear program back a few months are laughably inaccurate. So even if they didn't have the uranium, they don't have the nuclear facilities to create the bomb. Remember, they were decimated. Remember all that stuff that they sent off from the cruise missiles? That wasn't just cover. The Israelis have been smacking the snot out of them too. They also don't have the scientists to weaponize the uranium. Remember, they were eliminated. And even if the uranium is still intact, it is buried under rubble in a facility that was obliterated and to which Iran has zero access without Iran firing up Israel and the U.S. because we'll know that it's there and the jets will be in flight. So, yeah, no, the Iranian nuclear program is all but destroyed. Don't believe the lies. They are simply intended to vilify Trump and Netanyahu by getting people to believe that the historic operation was pointless. All are lies. Scrolly. This one, I cannot do this justice. This guy really, truly nails it, and I do like his YouTube channel. I just subscribed to it yet again, I think because I got booted off. But there's this really awesome Chinese internal information page, channel, call it what you will, on YouTube. But what the guy is saying is essentially that communist China is such an epic winner that the world tech and manufacturing, no, they're really not. They're pretty much crashing and burning. Their solar program is so overextended right now. Their population is really just beyond pissed at them. And the whole thing about Xi saying just work harder is starting to really kind of fall by the wayside. People are not feeling it. And China is having a very not slow decay happening like right before our eyes. So might be kind of interesting to see what happens in China in the next couple of years, even though they're putting on the good face about, oh, no, we're so amazing, so incredible, you can't stop us. Don't believe it. Supposedly, I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but no, in the grand jury, Carmelo Anthony has now been indicted for murder on Austin Metcalf. So all that, fundraising and everything that they did, he's now going to go to court and defend himself for murder. That's not just, no, it's not going to look good. So anyway, the BLM, is basically playing games, of course, running this one for all it's worth. I'm sure it's like a fundraising thing. They're basically, all these groups are like vultures. Anytime they see some controversy they can rail on and, jump upon and try to raise funds for, they do. So BLM activists are calling for the grand jury as being racist for indicting Carmelo Anthony and possibly ruining his future. Well, he kind of ruined the future for Austin Metcalf. And they tend to think that had the tides been turned and it was Austin Metcalf that had killed Carmelo Anthony, that he wouldn't have been questioned, investigated, or indicted. No, dude. Murder is murder no matter what race you are, okay? Call it what it is. Some of these guys really, truly are absolutely disgusting in the way that they play these, they play the racial games, okay? That's really, truly all it is when they play these racial games. And it's really just, what did you say, sound guy? It's caca. Thank you. Anyway, so looking at things as it is, we've got a couple minutes after 10 o'clock. I think we are pretty much run out of stuff we haven't run out of stuff to talk about, but we've run out of stuff to talk about today, I think. Oh, okay, so he's cranked up the music. That means I'm committed. All right, you guys hung out with me on Tuesday. I truly appreciate your kind intentions. Got many other things to do, but decided to hang out with me, so you get a gold star for attendance. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next week unless I decide to do something sooner. I thank you guys so much for hanging out. Good stuff like that there. I will see you then. Thank you guys so much. I will catch you guys later. Eat good, keep it centered, as always, you know what, you love it. I'll see you guys next week. Catch you guys. Peace.